I set out to become the ultimate Jiu-Jitsu black belt. In doing so, I traveled across America to fight 6 black belt gym leaders. During our stop in Minneapolis, Minnesota, I have had some tough matches. However, nobody has been as brutal as one of my upcoming opponents. Before finally taking him head on, he has one more challenge for me, an explosively dangerous purple belt named Mike. I should mention that I'm coming off an elbow and knee injury during this roll. I can't let my left knee touch the ground without crying hysterically, so during the knee cut I try to just hover it over his thigh. As I'm finishing the pass, I once again have to make a decision. Do I put my left knee on the ground? I decide I don't want to be depressed, and Mike starts to escape, but I monkey my ass onto him, landing in close guard and surprisingly locking onto my favorite submission, the triangle choke. I transition my left hand onto my shin, sink my leg into the pocket of my knee, and underhook his leg to prevent Mike from exploding out. I then stare deep into his soul as I introduce him to the thighs of God and finish the submission. In all fairness, I will say that Mike is coming off a 1-year break, pursuing his career in Power Ranger, and you'll see some of that training come into play soon. As I start off working to pass his guard again, I walk slowly into the danger zone between his legs, then hastily drop down in the headquarters. Notice how I'm in a split squat with my back leg driving into him, applying pressure to his top knee. After trying to flirt with him and asking for the guard pass, he says no, so I attempt a float pass but quickly get shut down by frames and lack of pressure. I go into a Toriando chain off of it, but Mike shoots onto a super fast guillotine attempt, seemingly preparing me for what's to come. I just made it out of harm's way, but that obviously isn't going to stop a blue belt from doing the exact same thing again. However, this time I approach it a little differently. Instead of staying high, I come in low and force Mike's knee to one side. He chooses the outside, so I drop down and try to keep his heel pinched to his butt. Knowing what I know now, I definitely would have attacked this differently. However, today, after a lot of thought, I came to the realization that I have 2 knees, so I don't necessarily need the other one. After finalizing that decision, I jump over both of his legs with a knee cut, smashing my knee into the ground, but ultimately passing his guard. I come out with the shin pin and start to set up a Darce choke by dropping my shoulder onto his ribs and threading my noodle arm under his head. Mike blocks this with a suspiciously good back arch and moves into turtle to escape side control, and with a good grip on my Darce wrist, I throw it away and move to his back. My best attack from turtle is to use my heel to peel his near side leg back and under me, torquing his knee inward and making it easy to insert a hook. However, Mike shifts his attention to that side and leaves his left side with open space, so I jump over him and roll onto his back. To prevent further brain damage, we move away from the concrete and back to the middle, where I sneakily throw in my top hook as we start back up. After butchering the hand fight, I try to switch my attacking sides by using a knee lever to force Mike to the other side. However, because I had no control over his hands, it basically gave him a clean out from his back. In doing so, I made some brutal technical errors, one of them resulting in Mike shrugging his shoulder over mine, placing his forearm under my elbow, and locks up onto a Kimura to start an attack of his own. While Mike has one of the best grips in the game of Jiu-Jitsu, I thought I was safe being on his back. That wasn't until he started freeing his leg from my hooks, and in only a few seconds, my mind went from complete confidence to absolute fear as Mike starts cranking on my arm to finish me off with a Kimura.
And my friends,
Now after taking on the 3 students that were chosen to wear me out, we move on to the boss fight. The gym leader I'll be facing today is none other than the Guillotine King himself, Tyler Spangler. Unfortunately, after the abuse committed to my knee during the rolls today, my performance was almost disrespectful to the sport of Jiu-Jitsu. So I made the decision to upload a roll prior to the injuries. Make sure to stick around to the end to see the gift I gave Tyler after I embarrassed him during the upcoming round. I should mention that this roll is being used as a promo for Dancing with the Stars Jiu-Jitsu Edition coming out November 32nd, 2023. But after Tyler and I finish up the tango, I drop down onto a super low outside single leg, looking for the takedown while also not trying to leave my head too high and avoid his white belt level guillotine. While I'm apparently doing a great job at avoiding the guillotine, I'm also doing a great job at being dog shit at wrestling and decide to fully commit to this one. Tyler doesn't let me get by and wraps me up into the guillotine. Knowing that he's finished off countless numbers of men from this position,
that's good.
I turn all my attention to defending and try to free myself from the submission. One way to relieve the pressure from most guillotines is to block his mommy hips from connecting to my torso. Using my knee shield, I'm keeping his hips at bay so he can't apply full force and I can hand fight my way out of the choke. Tyler knows I have my bases covered, so he conserves his energy and backs off, only to lock it up seconds later after I give it to him by reaching for an underhook and exposing my neck. Tyler not only wraps up his favorite submission, but he moves to his signature finishing position in side control. Luckily, he showed me some of his tricks earlier this year, and I know if I can keep my shoulders off the mat as he cranks on my neck, I may be able to survive his pressure. While I found a way to stall, I definitely did not find a way to escape in time, and Tyler transitions to mount to hip in and finish me with a mounted guillotine.
It was dark. It was really dark.
One thing I've learned with Tyler over the last few rolls is he plays a super slow-paced and calm game, so my idea going forward is to push the pace and see if I can wear him out. The reason Tyler's able to play such a slow-paced game is because he dumped all of his stats into the guillotine, an effortless counter to many attacks, primarily wrestling. In preparation for this role, I spent a considerable amount of time on my guillotine defense, and I'm able to escape what seemed like game over. Tyler follows it up with a Russian tie, but because I'm winning the head positioning battle, I'm able to stump him before he can use it to attack, and I managed to extract my arm from there. To those who look down on me for this, I took 4 shots with a 0% success rate, so sue me for trying to play smarter. Anyways, I pull guard and look to move on to shin to shin. I'm playing a very loose grip as to not commit my head too far forward, because we all know what Tyler is trying to cook up. He ducks my head and search for it, but I fall to my back and attempt to put him into single leg X. He'll knee cut through to avoid it, exposing his back for just a second, but he turns back into me before I can capitalize. We both take a second to strategize against each other's defenses, then as Tyler walks into my favorite passing position of headquarters, instead of using it to pass, he decides to mock me by turning this roll into combat jiu-jitsu. It's okay though, because in a few seconds, I'll make him pay. On a side note, my camera died, so shout out to Katie for getting the rest of this round. I finally managed to strip my leg through to single X, but Tyler frees his knee line by turning away and I set my target on his back. In the midst of this, he finds another guillotine. I press against his hips and shrug out of it just before he's able to lock it up, and we return to standing. Tired of getting pushed around, I start to ramp things up. After some intimate hand fighting, we unlock, and then I re-engage with maximum confidence, giving Tyler a free underhook in exchange for my overhook. He goes for a throw and I'll counter with my flying triangle, but we fall into a neutral position and he falls back onto my leg. We reset off the edge and now it's finally my turn. He's on his back and I know I only have 1 shot at this. With every ounce of power in my body, I shoot my knee through and successfully pass Tyler's guard. It's one thing to get a submission, but to hold Tyler here while he helplessly flails on my arms gave me an unprecedented feeling of accomplishment that I'll never forget. What I will forget is the effortless guard recovery, followed by a distasteful ankle lock, and finally a head snap, and one last guillotine to end the round.
Perfect timing.
Alright guys, so that about wraps up our time here in Minnesota. Thank you to the people at both the Cellar and Akagi, and a very special thank you to Tyler for giving Kate and I a place to stay on our way up to Seattle. If you guys would like, Tyler's having a baby soon, so I left a link in the description if you want to help him out with some of the expenses. Also, make sure to check the description to see how you can win free jiu-jitsu gear from my sponsor, YJJS. In terms of our next challenge, we continue heading west to Sioux Falls, South Dakota to take on Next Edge Academy.
I received a mysterious gift from Carsahh. I have no idea what it is, but I'm sure it's gonna be stupid. Oh God. Ugh. I am never wearing this, ever. God. But you'll never catch me wearing this shit, ever, unless I'm wiping my ass with it.